Well, howdy there, folks. Welcome back to Stewie MTG, and the last of our two-color combinations for now until I build some more. With that, let's take a quick look. Once again, Stewie has decks in progress. Some of those two-color combinations, but for now, as we're finishing up the 32 deck challenge, let's take a look here at our Rakdos submission for the 32 deck challenge in Grenzo Dungeon Warden. X, black and a red for a 2/2 legendary Gobbo. Comes into play with X +1/+1 counters. You can spend 2 mana and put the bottom card of your library into your graveyard. If it's a creature card with power less than or equal to Grenzo's power, put it onto the battlefield. Now, I have seen others, including Cure for the Common Game, use this for rat decks and for that in using that ability. I'm not using Grenzo for that. Grenzo is just the figurehead for Rakdos Goblins. In order to cast all these goblins and goblin associated cards, we have ourselves here Rakdos Signet, Pillar of Origins, Charcoal Diamond, Fire Diamond, fix the focus here a second, Rakdos Signet, Locket, and Cluestone. And the only other artifact that isn't a mana rock in here is going to be Goblin Charbelcher. Mainly it's a flavor include. Yes, every once in a while you get a nice card off the top or a land card for the double the damage. But if not, that's okay. And let's take a look at our fat stack of Gobbos. We have ourselves a Frenzied Goblin, Skirk Prospector, Mog Sentry, Raging Goblin, Goblin Javelineer. And the goblins that I was first initiated with was Mon's Goblin Raiders, 1 for 1/1, and Goblin Balloon Brigade. I cannot tell you how many times going up against various goblin decks and Goblin Balloon Brigade blocking my angels, and for me getting so frustrated because white did not really have any ability to have trample. So somebody is paying 1 red, blocking my Sarah Angel, and me being frustrated to try to kill them off for another turn. Goblin Spy, Marsh Goblins, Spike Jester, Frog Tosser Banneret to help reduce the cost of our Gobbos, Wily Goblin, Ember Hauler, and what's a goblin deck without Squee? And Krenko, and the other Squee. Oh wait, and the other Squee, and Togo. Got ourselves a Hobgoblin Bandit Lord, Goblin Matron, Gutter Snipe, Tuk the Explorer, Murderous Redcap, Sling Gang Lieutenant, and talk about a flavor include Goblin Snowman. I had a friend growing up, and this was his card to collect. It was Goblin Snowman. And so I remember he probably had 1,000 Goblin Snowmans. It's mainly in there as a flavor include, not really powerful, but definitely some nostalgia coming around 1995? Yeah, 1995. Goblin Trap Runner, Beetleback Chief, Goblin Ringleader. Once again, as I was mentioning before about Reckless One, Heedless One, this series of the ones was great for people like me who like to build tribal decks. Back in the day when I played Standard, I used to have four Reckless Ones in a Goblin deck, and that was just a whole lot of fun. Got ourselves Siege Gang Commander, and the same way with the 1 series, Battle Squadron, the same way. Power and toughness equal to the creatures you control. Swarming Goblin, Goblin Marshal, and lastly, Chancellor of the Forge. Once again, it says Giant. I don't know if they've errated this to actually be a Goblin, but it's definitely a nice flavor include. With that, you can't have a Goblin deck unless you have a Goblin Grenade. You gotta fling those Goblins. Got ourselves a Goblin War Strike, Brightstone Ritual to help us with some mana, Village Rites, Faithless Looting, and I actually have 2 Goblin Grenades in here. I'm going to have to edit that out later. Got ourselves a Goblin Oriflame, Terminate, Shatter, Angrath's Rampage, Rakdos Charm, Feed the Swarm, Wild Guess, Tormenting Voice, Sign in Blood for some card draw, Dragon Fodder to create some tokens. Same thing with Krenko's Command and Goblin Assault. Some secret hidden tech here, guys. War Cadence, 3 mana enchantment, X and a red. This turn, creatures can't block unless their controller plays X for each blocking creature he or she controls. So we've seen Propaganda, and we have seen Ghostly Prison for paying to attack, but now we have paying to block. It really stretches our opponents in thinking about if they do want to block, and if they have to block, then they have to tie up their mana resources. And this is a great include for Goblin decks or heavy attacking decks. Seize the Spoils, Diabolic Tutor, Wrecking Ball, and lastly, an Orcish Oriflame. And I will be sneaking back in here to replace that second Goblin Grenade, a Ferocity of the Wilds. On to our non-basic lands, we have ourselves Encroaching Waste, Bojuka Bog, Barren Moor, Desert of the Fervent, Forgotten Cave, Terramorphic Expanse, Evolving Wilds, Tramway Station, Shadowblind Blood Ridge, Foreboding Ruins, Smoldering Marsh, Treasurehorn Sinks, Drossfire Bridge, Temple of Malice, Rakdos Carnarium, Valakut the Molten Pinnacle, and lastly, Goblin Burrows. With that, this has been taking a look at our Goblin Tribal deck in Rakdos colors. This has been Stewie MTG, and thank you for listening to my rambling. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, and helping us to get almost to 100 subscribers. Well, this has been Stewie MTG, and we will catch you all later.